Hi, my name is Anouk and I'm a Customer Success Engineer at Deeploy. In this tutorial, I will show you how you can create and enable control frameworks in Deeploy and apply those to your use cases. So let's get started. We go to the Deeploy website and press login, which brings us to the organization overview. The organization overview is only viewable by organization admins and governance managers, who are also able to create control frameworks and enable them in the entire organization or partly. So let's go to control frameworks. So what is actually a control framework? A control framework is an actionable translation of a regulation or of a internal policy to clear controls that are available in use cases and apply to those use cases and also to the deployments within a use case. So as you can see, there are currently 3 control frameworks available, and it's also possible to create your own control framework. So let's have a look, for example, at the ISO framework that we can see here. We can view the controls, which shows us which controls are actually applied when applying this control framework to a use case. So for example, the first one is AI policy, and that means that the organization shall document a policy of the development or use of AI systems. Right, so next we want to apply this control framework to a specific use case. And to do that, we can go back to the control frameworks and click configure for this specific one. And we can actually apply it to a specific workspace, and that will cause all the use cases within that workspace to have this control framework in place. So let's apply it to the risk management workspace and save it. And now we can go to that workspace, click use cases on the left. And if we then click on the use case, we can see, for example, also the risk classification and description and in which life cycle stage this use case is currently in. And then if we scroll below, we can see all the controls that have to be fulfilled in this specific life cycle stage. If we want to see all the controls that apply to this use case, we can click here and we see the full list of controls that have to be fulfilled. We can, for example, click on one of the controls, and that shows us the following. We can see here checks, and these are checks that are automatically checked by the Deeploy platform. So this shows us that the events for all deployments within this use case, in this case 1 deployment, credit scoring, are automatically recorded. And we can also write supporting evidence for that. So for example, view event logs in Deeploy and save that. And then we can mark this control as completed. And if we do that for all the controls within this specific life cycle stage, and if this use case is ready to move to the next life cycle stage, we can do that here. So for example, change to development, and that will bring us to another set of controls that apply to that life cycle stage. Lastly, we can also create a custom control framework by clicking create and give a name. And then we can select which controls we want to use. So let's say we just click a few for this example, and we can enable that to another workspace, for example, the tutorial workspace. And we have to give it a description. And then we can save it. Now we actually have a new custom control framework ready. In this tutorial, I showed you how to use control frameworks in Deeploy. Thank you for watching and see you next time.